Beloved, I appreciate you joining me on the Healing Streams Reflection. The title for today's post is Surviving in the Real World. A word to the busy team. The real world. I was in high school. This phrase really annoyed me. There I was sitting in classes for 8 hours, making good grade, bogged down with inhuman amount of homework, holding a part-time job after school, serving as a leader in my youth group, and trying to figure out what kind of man I was supposed to be. Then in the midst of all these, someone woke up and said, just wait till you hit the real world. I don't know what kind of teenage years my elders had, but I know for a fact that my youth was as real as I hope my life ever gets. Maybe your life is filled with impossible demands from everyone around you. Or perhaps you are exhausted from trying to cram 30 hours of work and activities into the 17 hours you are really awake. You may even find yourself crying out along with the psalmist, "Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am faint. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are in agony. My soul is in anguish. How long, O Lord? How long?" Psalm 6, verse 2 to 3. How long indeed? Back then, for an immediate word of encouragement at the start of every day, I read 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may fix you up in due time. This single verse teaches 4 important lessons: the humility that God requires, the protection that God offers, and deliverance that he promises, and the time at which he will get it. The humility and protection aspects of this verse should be viewed as one single point. Listen to the words here. Humble yourself, therefore, under God's mighty hand. We all recognize the humility stressed here. Countless sermons and Bible lessons have taught us that we cannot save, protect, or exalt ourselves. What draws me to this verse is where we are to humble ourselves. Do we recognize our inability and shrink away cowardly, crouching in the corner? No. We humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God. Sometimes, when we are bogged down or scared to death, we forget just how big God's hand really is. I love the image in the third part of the verse that he will lift you up. I was an unusually tall child, and as such, I was a bit awkward and fell down a lot. It is pretty easy for me to imagine being so frantic or exhausted that we just fall flat on the ground. There, out of breath, hurt, and embarrassed, God reaches down and picks us up. In the long run, he will lift us up from where we are and set us down where he is. For now, though, he has promised to pick us up and move us closer and closer to him. The final point is probably the most troublesome aspect of this promise. We know that He will lift us up from our worries, but we demand to know when He will do this. Remember the cry of the psalmist, "How long, O Lord? How long?" We have had a time, and with the answer, He will exalt us in due season. Why not now? Why can't we have a now? We cry. We live in a fast food, instant ATM, microwave ready world that makes patient and outdated ideal. To paraphrase a Burger King motto, we want things our own way right away. Our problem is that God's time is not our time. We live by minutes, we live by hours, we live by days and weeks. God, however, lives outside of time. He sees what was, what is, and what will be all at once. Therefore, we have to surrender our impatience to God and allow Him to act in His time. So what can we learn from all this? We see that we are not alone, and we are blessed with the protective shelter of God's mighty hand. We also see that God will lift us up from our troubles. This doesn't mean that He will always boldly act and miraculously remove our obstacles. He may instead choose to keep us in our circumstances, but with a renewed strength. Lastly, we see that God will act according to His own timetable, which we will never be able to understand. We can only trust what we are protected in His hand now, despite our circumstances, and He will lift us up when the time is right. So we trudge on through the troubles, through the mountain of papers that we have to write. Beloved, it's very, very important, again, that we can only trust that we are protected in His hand now, despite our circumstances, and He will lift us up when the time is right. So we trudge on through the troubles, through the mountains of papers that we have to write, through the many tests we have to take, through the family crisis that drain our strength, through the millions of other things that get in our way. We move forward because we have God's promise that He is here with us, leading us through the demands and challenges we face every day. The real world isn't something that is coming later. It is here now. And God is here in it with us. Thanks for listening. And may the good Lord richly bless you. Bye-bye.